If God is for us, then who the is against us? Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot.
Welcome to the Wealth Mindset with JD Garnier. Listen, I hope you are having a productive week in your wealth creation journey. And my goal is simple: to help you walk in wealth, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. To take the things that God has already given you and use those to create a life of purpose, so that wealth is more than just what you acquire. Wealth is who you become. You are the wealth. It's not your investments. It's not your business. It's not your real estate. It's you. And before you have any of those things, you have a unique and specific set of talents, abilities, gifts, ideas, habits, disciplines, and inclinations that form the basis of everything that you do in this world. And once you tap into that, you build wealth in your life. So again, you are the wealth. Listen, man, first things first, please follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, TikTok at JD Garnier or Garnier JD. You can also follow my website, jdgarnier.com. Purchase all of my books. I published my second book this year, The Art of Diversity: Selling How to Transcend Societal Differences in Business. If you are in corporate America, if you are in business, if you are in sales, I truly believe that this book will change your life and change your dynamics. Listen, I've been in professional sales for 25 years. I started out working with everyday people, and I've advised billionaires at this point. And this book outlines the strategies, the ideas, the tools that I use to essentially grow a book of business from nothing, to develop and build relationships with people that I had nothing in common with, to ascend and build meaningful business relationships. So again, if you are in corporate America, if you are in sales, I guarantee you this book will add value to your life. Now listen, I'm thinking about a lot of things because so much is happening in this world. And the thing that bothers me the most is nobody really wants to fix the problem. Most people just want to make enough money to where whatever the problem is not their problem anymore. But nobody really wants to fix the problem. And so if you hear the conversation around, especially the things that are going on in my community, everybody's playing the blame game. They're talking about whose fault it is, how it happened, who started it, what policy, what administration, what bill, what thing actually led to our current circumstances. And listen, I've given history lessons many times on this podcast. I talk about it all the time. There is no secret of our history in this country. Even passing beyond slavery, through the Reconstruction era, through Jim Crow, through redlining and COINTELPRO and Iran-Contra and the crime bill and the crack epidemic. And I can go on and on and on about things that are documented that have led to the detriment of the Black community. But what's the solution? Because I don't hear anybody talking about that. I don't hear our political leaders. I don't hear our social leaders. I don't hear anybody in positions of power offering solutions that don't involve help from other people and don't involve money from other people. But the fact of the matter as it stands today, we have almost $2 trillion in spending power annually. And at the same time, we control less than 4% of the wealth in this country. Our average net worth is 7 to 10 times less than that of white families. We own homes at a slower rate. I don't have to regurgitate the economic statistics. My only question is, what is the solution? Because that's what nobody wants to talk about. Or if they talk about it, they talk about it in the form of money. But money doesn't create money. Value creates money. And so the question is, how do we create value within our community that can stay there long enough to change our socioeconomic conditions? There is not a check big enough that anybody can write that can repay us for the damage that our ancestors suffered. And so the question is, how can we change our dynamics and circumstances on our own? I keep telling you, I said it in my last show, the person that hurt you cannot heal you. The person that is responsible for your pain cannot heal your pain. The moment they cause the damage, they are powerless in solving the problem. And so we know who is responsible, but they can't solve the problem because the problem is not financial. The problem is with our mindset. See, money was spent to destroy us, but money is not going to be the answer in repairing us. We have to collectively change the way that we think. See, I was really fortunate when I was growing up because I had a lot of older people in my family. So I had the fortune of learning from and hearing the wisdom of relatives that were in their 90s and their hundreds, people that lived or were born in the 1800s, right? And when you are able to spend time with relatives that were around for that amount of time, you get a different perspective of what was going on. My mom and dad lived through Jim Crow. They were segregated until they were in high school. And so I hear stories all the time of thriving Black businesses. I hear stories all the time of communities that were economically viable and thriving and didn't need any outside sources. I hear stories all the time of communities that share with one another, that had a collective mindset. My uncle George Raymond was a freedom rider. He died at 30 years old after numerous beatings and jailings and pistol whippings. I have pictures of him being spit on and having food and milk poured on his head at different sit-ins. He was a major organizer in Mississippi and Louisiana. I have pictures of him with John Lewis and Martin Luther King. That's one generation above me. And I didn't meet him because he died 2 years before I was born. And so I understand the history of what we've been through. But what is going to repair us is not financial. It's psychological. Because in 50 years, we essentially went from a collective mindset, a collective thought, a unified mission, to 50 years later, we don't trust one another. We are at odds with one another. Every facet of our culture is in conflict. Our men are in conflict with our women and vice versa. Our religions are in conflict with one another. Our generations are in conflict with one another. Our regions are in conflict with one another. And so how can we solve our problems? How can we even protect ourselves from the people who are against us if collectively we at odds with one another? And so I refuse to believe that money is going to solve that. I refuse to believe that a check is going to solve that. Because nobody that gets the check wants to fix the problem. They just want to get the check so that it's not their problem. And so my question for the people that's watching me, my question for the people that's talking is how we're going to solve this. Because I believe, in my opinion, we need something that I call unconscious cooperation. Because if you got to talk about it, the enemy already knows what you're going to do. And so our cooperation, our unity needs to be collective. It needs to be unconscious. It needs to be understood. And the only way for that to happen is that we need a collective set of principles. We need a collective foundation which we all follow. We need a collective set of principles, of ethics, of how we treat one another, of how we do business with one another. And I'm saying this out of wisdom because I work with all nationalities of people. Asian people don't have to get online and encourage other Asian people to buy or support their country, because it's subconsciously understood. They unconsciously cooperate with one another. Hispanic or Latino people don't have to get online and encourage you to buy Latin, to buy Mexican, because they have an understanding that is unconscious with one another. The only reason that we have to encourage each other to buy black is because subconsciously we against one another. Over the past 50 years, we fell for the propaganda, and we are less trusting of our own brother. We're less trusting of people who share our own skin tone than we are of other people. And so when I recognize that, I realize that no amount of money is going to change that if we don't proactively change the way that we think. And so my, I guess, thought or question or idea for today is based around the mindset of capitalism over community. Because I think we have a decision to make. Listen, I know the numbers. Listen, over the past 50 years, we've created more millionaires than you can imagine. We've attained and accumulated more wealth than you can ever imagine. But that's only for a small percentage of us, because a lot of us are struggling. A lot of us are dealing with hard times. And that dichotomy is because we have accepted capitalism over community. We've accepted the individualistic mindset over the mindset that helps everybody, over the mindset that's of the greater good. That's why it's easy to compromise our leaders. That's why it's easy to compromise the people that we look up to, because they have accepted the idea of capitalism over community. And so the first thing that you have to decide is, what is your priority? Is it your community, or is it getting to the bag? Is it making sure that everybody around you has an opportunity, or is it stepping on the toes of everybody around you so that you can succeed? That's the decision we got to make. And until we make that decision, nothing that we do, no successes that we have individually are going to change the circumstances of the whole. And so I'm talking to y'all from the heart because I care. I don't really have to do this. In my career, in my position, in my family, I know I'm going to be fine by myself. But what's the point in doing it all by myself if I'm not helping my community? If I'm not helping the people that I care about? And so that's the reason why this question is even relevant. Because at one point we all cared. At one point we all wanted to do what was the best for our community. And for whatever reason, at some point that changed. For whatever reason, at some point, we decided that our individual success was better than that of the greater good. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in. That's why we are in the circumstance that we are in. And that's why the numbers look like the way they do. But I'm confident that it doesn't take everybody. It only takes a small tipping point to change our circumstances. A small group of committed men and women that have decided that they're going to do what's necessary to focus on capitalism over community. So what you going to do? That's my question for you today. Always remember, change begins from within. I'll see you next time.